Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening.
Hey there. How are we looking for quorum?
By my count, we have a quorum currently.
Great. I will call to order the Pickering School Building Committee. Roll call, please.
Ooh.
All right. Mayor Nicholson,
Present.
Mr. Bennett, Mr. Bertino, Member Castellanos, Councilor Chakutis, Ms. Cohen,
Present.
Mr. Donovan,
Present.
Ms. Drago,
Present.
Mr. Duffy,
Present.
Member Gately, Ms. Girardo, Mr. Kolokitis, Councilor LaPierre, Mr. Makua,
Present.
Mr. Mannion,
Present.
Mr. Marlin,
Present.
Mayor McGee,
Present.
Councilor Meany, Ms. Miller,
Present.
Ms. Philbrook,
Present.
Mr. Ridley,
Present.
Ms. Fritz,
Present.
and I see Member Gately just joined. We're doing roll call. Member Gately,
What?
we're just
Present.
doing roll call. I see you there.
Oh,
Fantastic. We do have a quorum.
good.
Share my screen. So tonight we've got our typical administrative actions. We do have some project update dates, which will include a revised design presentation of the revised color palette, interior color palette. We've got some schedule updates. And so to kick things off, our first action we're looking for is a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 19th, which were in the packet sent around yesterday, I believe.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Fantastic. Thank you all. All right. Next for a budget update, Lynn's joining from her car. Lynn, are you able to see the screen and give a report?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. So as of the end of November, we are 88% committed and 29% expended. And our construction is at about 29% complete. So I told you last month that I was going to take a look at revising the cash flow, but when I went in to do it, I would have had to start completely over since we not only extended schedule, but we also increased the budget. And in trying to reevaluate that, we would have kicked it out of what MSBA is trying to accomplish by the cash flow, basically showing when they first started, we first started expenditures till the end. So unfortunately, it'll continue to show that we are behind where we had projected to be, but our projected was at 98,696,766 with the actual expenditure to date of 54,821,510. So our guarantee maximum price has been executed. We did receive our letter for the PFA bid amendment from MSBA, and we're working on putting those documents together for them. We have to provide them with the schedule of values for the GMP, and we also have to fill out a new budget worksheet for them, and we'll be finishing that up this week and getting it back to MSBA.
And maybe we pause there for a second, see if anyone's got questions. All right, not hearing any. Brandon, I saw you were on the call. Would you like to take us through some of these photos?
I certainly will. Good evening, everyone. So the two photos here on the screen are some big shots of the remaining sections of the retaining wall footing. These are both areas where we were placing rebar. You see the pump truck on the left setting up for a pour as well at the same time. These areas have now fully been placed. The walls in these areas have also been placed, which may be in some photos coming up. But we actually did our last large foundation wall placement yesterday, which is a big milestone for us to get ready for steel that we'll touch on a little bit here as well. So showing foundations, we've been seeing that for a while, and then now we're going to start seeing some new stuff in the next couple weeks. These two shots here on the left is kind of getting the last of our soils off site. If you look into the site now, there's a couple piles still there that's being used to backfill some of the existing foundation or the new foundation walls using existing soil where we could. On the right is some underground electrical conduits we put in. This was all pre-planning that was done to allow us to transition successfully in the future from temporary power, which is in one of those boxes in the back of the photo, into a permanent power situation where we have that flux between the two. So Anise was on site, our electrician, doing some underground conduit work, which allowed us also, if you were around the site today, to see we actually did some paving. So we did what we could under the parking lot, and we got some pavement down ahead of the worst of the winter. We got lucky with some nice weather these today and for the next couple days, which is great. So that's been what's going on so far. This is the rough grading that happened a week or two ago at that parking lot area, which, like I said, is now all completely paved with asphalt. This is a shot of a crane that was on site 2 weeks ago for the install of our grease trap. So that exterior grease trap sits just outside the foundation footprint. It's buried underground, takes all the kitchen waste from any grease producing fixture, filters through there before it goes into any sanitary system, and then that's pumped out at regular intervals. So that's now done, buried, which is fantastic. It's another big just underground element that we can put behind us. This is a shot of the formwork up at that same area we looked at in the first set of photos. So like I said, this looks like one side is up at this point, the week of 12/5. We've since now placed these, which is great. Another shot of the foundation walls being complete. You might notice the different patterns that appear here, where you can see kind of a vertical patterns where we did some form liner work. That stuff will be exposed as an areaway in the finished condition. So that was all strategically inlaid within the formwork to kind of provide a more architectural finish that you'll see. And then everything else, all these box outs here actually come into the main electric room. Eventually they come in through the first floor up into the main electric room and into the second floor mechanical room. But that was all pre-planned. MEP coordination has been ongoing. So those are intentional box outs to make sure we can get service into the building when we need to. Another activity we were working on just after Thanksgiving for the last couple of weeks was getting back to that Sisson ramp that we turned over, the switchback ramp last summer. So we had temporary railings in. We had done our field dimensioning for our permanent rails. Those were fabricated and those have been installed. I believe they set the last sections today. They'll be doing some welding of some corners and things tomorrow, and we should be completely demobilized with that all complete at the end of the day tomorrow.
That's the last picture. Thanks, Brandon. Does anyone have any questions for Brandon before we move on to RDA?
I guess just big picture, I want to touch on schedule-wise. We've been talking about concrete being complete, moving on to steel, just so everyone knows and you can anticipate what to see. We do have the crane coming on Monday. It'll be erected. So you're going to see that go up in the area of the building footprint. And our first steel is going to go up next Tuesday. So huge milestone for us to be starting just before the holidays and then working through the holidays here with the first section. So great milestone for the team on site as we've gotten kind of transition from site work, concrete now into structural steel.
Hey, Mr. Mannion's got his hand raised.
Yeah, Brandon, just quickly, the steel is on site now?
The steel is not on site right now. We're going to see our first trucks on Tuesday morning. It's going to be 8 or 9 trucks. Some have slowly been ferried down from Canada into a kind of temporary landing spot in Massachusetts to get ready for this. So some of it has made its way over the border, but nothing is on site yet.
Okay, one last quick one. How much longer can you put, do you have to put the bituminous down, the top coat? I mean,
it's all weather dependent, right? We got lucky today. And
Yeah.
as you may know, the plants do shut down, and that's also a kind of a fluctuating date. They've stayed open. We got the bulk of what we wanted to get done today, which is great. The large parking area just west of our trailers got done, as well as one of the two main entry roads. The idea of getting it in now was to help us better clean the site during the winter with all the salt, sand, plowing. It's going to be a lot easier on top of that than the gravel. So we got the most that we could or that we wanted to today. If we get lucky with weather and plants staying open, we'll do some more. But if we don't, then at least we got a great chunk out of the way right now.
Sounds like we're ready to build a building,
Yes,
thankfully.
sir.
Well done.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Brandon and his team? All right. So Gene, I have the slides that you had sent at the end of last week. And I can put those up on my screen, or if you prefer, I can yield the screen to you.
Why
And
don't
can
you
show-
yield it and then I can just go through and use my pointer and do whatever I gotta do.
All right. I think you should have the ability now.
I do
Hey,
have
Greg,
the
can I
ability.
ask one question to Brandon?
Certainly.
Um, the steel, did it increase the cost that we expected?
So we did carry some money in our final GMP, Lorraine, for the anticipated tariffs.
Yep.
We're just waiting for those bills to come to make sure we feel comfortable that we carried the right number. We're going to
Okay.
see those first ones come off, kind of do a projection of what's actual, what we're seeing right now versus what we assumed. We are very comfortable with what we were able to carry in this final GMP that we'll have that covered. But unfortunately, yes, there was some increase in cost, but I think as a group, we did a good job getting that money into the project now while we could.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Take it away, Gene.
Okay, you can see the screen, I hope.
Yes.
Great. So we were here a month ago. We ran through our thoughts on all the interior finishes, colors, patterns. We got some feedback, which we took to heart, and we worked with a smaller, I'm going to call it a subcommittee. I don't know if it's officially a subcommittee of folks. And I'm going to say that it was really, really valuable. So the feedback was awesome. And I think that tonight I'll show you kind of where we were last time, where we are now. And I think the city side is happy with it, the school side. And honestly, we're very happy with where it is right now. So again, you saw these, you've seen these since a year ago. So we have the kind of neutral exterior color palette, and we have curves on the outside of the building responding to the site. We didn't want to have any sharp prows. Um, and then we brought those curves into the building, where we have interior cores, and this is the curve on the cafeteria. So the other thing that we had organized the building around, and I know you've heard it all before, but we have perimeter spaces and we have these interior cores. And so we've been focused on trying to give the interior cores various color patterns so that it's kind of a wayfinding device and people inside the building can kind of understand, as they use the building where they are. We have like three cores kind of typically on the upper three academic floors. And each one of the, well, I'm going to say the toilet cores, we're trying to have just consistent, but then the grade level, academic cores, we're trying to have different colors. And so far that's worked out really well. Where we were, November 19th, which was the last time, was we had very saturated or very intense colorful patterns of tile on all these cores. And one of the feedback comments that we got was, wow, it's like really powerful and it might be too powerful. And then we also had in the corridors, not the cores themselves, but the other walls, we had, a more neutral colors, but still a pretty, um, I don't know, intense or a lot of pattern going on. So we got some, you know, we went back and we worked with the subcommittee and we looked at some precedents. This is what, an interior, kind of saturated tile pattern might look like in different colors. And, here it's fine. This is another middle school that's in the town of Weymouth. Um, it's kind of okay that it's saturated because there's small little pops of color. You can see most of the corridor is kind of neutral. And then, they're marking the entrance to these classrooms with these pops of color. So the thought was when we're doing the whole core with something like this, it just might be too much. And so this is the original. We did a series and we showed you guys a series of interior renderings. And this was the original tile pattern. And let's say this is the green core. And then this is the toilet core that goes all three floors. Um, what the first thing we did was we took this, well, the hallway pattern, and we just said, let's just have it be simple, nice wall tile. And that's what we did at Thurgood Marshall. It's very calm and it works well. But let's also take a look at this, which is very intense, a lot of green and a lot going on with the other accent colors. And let's flip it. So, the field color is more neutrals and the accents become the green. So we looked at a variety of patterns. And so we've gone from, this very intense, the field was green, to the field is now a neutral with green accents. And this is the second tile pattern we looked at. And we looked at one that was even less intense. This is tile pattern number 4. And where we landed was tile pattern number 3, which was between the two. And I think, well, I'm going to speak for the subcommittee, but this is what everyone felt was we have enough green in the paint above, and we have green accents here, and the quarter is going to be lighter and brighter and less kind of in your face. So the same thing happened. It's just another example, but one of the other cores is kind of a purple color, and the original pattern had a lot of purple in the field with some other accents. And again, we flipped it so that it's more neutrals in the core and colors as the accents. And this is tile pattern number 2, which we didn't pick. Tile pattern 4 was a little too dispersed, and we landed on tile pattern number 3. So I'm going to say, just honestly, I think this is really nice because you still get the pop of color with the painted gypsum board. You can't see it here, but there's lockers that are going to be the same color. And you still have the green accent. So you definitely still have the feeling that this is a green core and this is a purple core. And then this is the toilet core, which is more of a neutral, but it's not the plain, just wall tile, which we're headed toward at Pickering. And this just happens to be a shot of Thurgood Marshall where we had just very simple, nice, tile on the walls in the corridors. Another comment that we had was there was some concern about cherry and is it too dark? Is it dated? So we worked our way through that. And I think some people visited Thurgood Marshall, which this is a picture of Thurgood Marshall, and it came off a lot nicer than what they were imagining in some of our renderings. And we had, we have nice cherry doors, nice cherry paneling as accents. And we have metal ceiling that's a cherry tone. This is the library at Thurgood Marshall. So I think the question, when you can kind of compare what it really looks like with what the computer renderings, kind of throw out sometimes, things can look a lot different in real life. And I think everyone was comfortable, heading with the same direction for Pickering. One of the other questions was, boy, it kind of was hand in hand with the cherry comment, like, oh, the vestibule seems like it's very dark. So we did some study on the vestibule, and this is the main entrance when you approach the building. There's actually an exterior set of doors, and then there's two more sets of doors as you go into the building because we have two vestibules. So if we just take the glass out, what we are proposing, and I think everyone's comfortable with, is we have the cherry metal ceiling. And what we wanted to do was it stays under the canopy outside, but then we bring the same ceiling into the inside of the building so that you have kind of some continuity as you go into the building. And we've taken, the outside set of doors is here, and you kind of check in, and then there's another set of doors here where after you're credentialed, you can be buzzed in, but where the tile drops, there's yet another set of doors. And the reason is when you go into the second vestibule, you can go over to the service providers or you can go into the main office, but you can't go into the school. So that's for visitors, guardians coming in from meetings. So when we got into the vestibule, the two vestibules, this is the first one in which the main office controls it and people get credentialed at a little counter. If they're coming into the office, they would then get buzzed in and go into the office with this door, but they can't go in those doors to go any further into the school. In these two vestibules, we decided to stay with full height tile and to keep the original pattern because if this full height was all just one tile, it would be a bit boring, honestly. But once you get through the second one, you're into the regular corridor tile and then painted wall above it. And this is where we just turn into the plain kind of single color tile. So they also wanted to just, again, going back to the cherry, when you come into the lobby, we have these acoustic panels. It's again cherry because it goes with the wood, it goes with the ceilings, and frankly, it just feels kind of sophisticated and a nice finish. But they wanted to make sure that, what that would look like. So we showed them this picture of the Thurgood Marshall cafetorium, and these are all the same kind of cherry acoustical panels. You can't see it, but there's little holes and sound goes in, and then there's absorbent material behind the wood. So they really do, provide a nice warm accent, in a any kind of space, but up against a painted, gypsum wallboard surface. So again, that's just, you can start to see the little holes here. And we ended up, everyone I think feels comfortable with that. So that's not any different than what you saw last time. So I'm not going to go on and on and on, but there's a few more slides. This is the original wall tile pattern. Remember, we had all these accents, and this is the top of the lobby and looking down into the cafeteria. So this is where everyone wants to head, and frankly, we're absolutely fine with it. It's just a nice, simple wainscoting. It still breaks up the height of the walls, still provides a nice, durable surface. So we're kind of going from this, which I'm just going to say maybe is a little in people's faces, and we're going to something that's calmer, but still light. The same thing happens, just a couple different views. This is where we were, and this is where, what's being recommended right now. The extended learning spaces, these are outside the classrooms. It's a big open space where group work can take place, individual work, and they're part of these interior cores on the three upper academic floors. So one of the comments here was, it's just very saturated. It's a lot of green. And you could say, yeah, that's good, or, could it be different? And where we landed with the subcommittee was kind of leaving the paint the same and the floor the same to define that this open area is part of that core, but warming up the ceiling and going back to the cherry metal ceiling planks as opposed to painted green. And honestly, again, I think it works really well. I think it's a nice accent and it warms up the space. So this is another looking at it from another view. And then this is what it would be like with what we're proposing tonight. And then finally, oh, well, finally, there's one more view. You can see like this was the original wall tile pattern, the original ceiling, and everything's just getting a lot calmer, with the single color and the warmer ceiling. Um, in the lobby, we decided that we would not put a wood look ceiling in the lobby, that we'd stay with the kind of painted blue ceiling. And it's not just one shade of blue. You can see we're breaking it down into a number of colors, so it has some texture and interest. But the thought was that if we have this nice cherry accent wall and we put cherry up on the ceiling, it's just going to be kind of bland. It's going to be just a big blob of cherry. And in this way, you have the nice wood that's warm, contrasting with the blue metal ceiling. So we decided to maintain it here, whereas on the academic floors, we changed the metal ceiling away from paint. And this is just a view at the second floor. We're still showing like we didn't, we're showing the old pattern, but again, this is all going to be simplified. And just another view. And then on the classrooms, we didn't change what was going on inside the classroom. We still have a band of color flooring, and we have an accent wall to highlight where the teaching is going to happen. And also, as you walk down the hallway, one classroom will look purple, another one will look green, another one will look blue. So, again, it's kind of a very subtle wayfinding technique. So, people can figure out where they are. Not every classroom looks the same. But this is the old pattern that you saw last month on the walls. And this is, just a plain one. And to be honest, it actually makes the colors in the room pop out a little more to me. It's like there's just less going on in this situation. The foreground is very plain, and the pop of color identifies what's going on in the classroom. So we were very, very happy working with the subcommittee, and I think we've really changed it. And I think the interiors of the building are going to be nice, warm, bright, and have just the right amount of color. So with that, Craig, there's just a couple more pictures of classrooms. The cafeteria, we didn't change. Everyone was very comfortable with it. And we're excited to see it get built. And then the gym didn't change either. It's the school colors, and it has all these wonderful things happening, including, all these bleachers that can get pulled down for a big, performance of some sort. So with that, like I say, I think it's really taken a big leap forward, and hopefully you're okay with it.
Good.
Like,
Thank you. Thank you, Gene.
yeah, I can go back to any slide if people want, or take any more comments.
Gene, I do have a question. Um, how will the ceiling weather? It's cherry. It looks fine day one.
It weathers really well, Flory, and I'm sorry to flip through. Give me a sec. I
Do,
don't
do
know
you
if I
have
have.
any example of something that's been around over 5 year, 10 years?
Yeah, if you happen to get over to Thurgood Marshall, we have it on the exterior and the interior.
Right.
Sorry, I'm looking. Oh, like this is the library at Thurgood Marshall. So as you might suspect,
Oh,
uh,
so same exact material. So we're not changing them.
Just the color.
same, and it looks as good today as it looked when we put it in.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think in support of that, Gene, it's important to note it's not wood, it's wood look, so it's metal. So it's very, very durable.
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
No maintenance to it, right?
Nope,
I have a
nope,
quick question, Jean. Did you
sure.
talk to people at Marshall about the size of the kitchen, and did you adjust that in your plans so that it's a little larger than the one over at Marshall, so the sinks are deeper? Remember, I
We
was
did.
questioning that.
We did. We didn't talk to the people at Marshall, Lorraine. We talked to the food service coordinator. And we brought him the comments that we had heard from you guys during design. And so we did adjust. I can't speak to the size of the kitchen because that was kind of dictated by MSBA and by like the space we had on the first floor. But we definitely did. I remember we adjusted the sinks
Oh,
specifically
good.
so they could wash the pans and trays.
So they're the same size as the pans, so they can go right in the water and get washed.
Yep.
Makes it easier. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I just wanted to say as a general comment, I like the changes that everyone made, and I appreciate the unofficial subcommittee taking the time to make those edits over the last month. It seems like a lot of thought went into these tweaks, and I appreciate that.
I think I've said it, but I mean, I totally agree. We met twice with them in early December, so they did put in a bunch of time and it was really helpful.
I'd just like to reiterate what Lauren just shared, and I can say from the experience with Marshall that this approach is really helpful in terms of building the excitement and morale of the staff and members who come into the space. I know that the Marshall staff very, very much felt like they had been heard and contributed to the vision of the school. So thank you, Jean, and your team, of course.
You're welcome, and it makes it better. So it's really good. It's really good to make it better. Ideas come from everywhere.
Definitely a win-win.
Yeah. So I'm all set, Greg, if you are.
Fantastic. Any other questions for Gene before we move on?
Nope.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Good.
Take the screen back. All right, wrong screen. Try again. Can you guys see a big slide that says switch to RDA slides?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Actually, this is pretty much the same as last month, and I think Brandon gave us a pretty good look forward what to expect next week with steel coming on site. And I think he emphasized that most of the foundations is done. There was just a small handful of interior spread footings that are getting wrapped up sort of end of this week. So things are looking really good out there. for the overall project, this red line is where we are now, in the sort of mid-December. And so we have, more progress that's going to be made on the site. People are going to really be able to see the work that's being done as opposed to when we were doing a lot of work in the ground improvements. This stuff that's coming up over the next couple months will be visually exciting. Any questions on that, the overall schedule? Fantastic. All right. So, but since last month, we've updated this projection of the building committee meetings over for all of 2026. Our next meeting will be January 14th. I did notice that we had plunked the February meeting. Our natural meeting week falls on February vacation. And so all our other projects, we're moving it to either before or after February vacation, just with the anticipation that a lot of people a certain percentage of people will be out of pocket. So unless there are any objections to that, I think that would be left field's recommendation for Pickering as well, to make it either before or after the vacation week. So unless there's any strong opinions to the contrary, we'll take a look at the schedule and see if it makes sense to do before or after, and then we'll send that out sometime between now and say, mid-January, so everyone will get it, the new date in their calendars. Got our typical reminder to, if anyone's got questions or wants to learn more about the project, we've got these two resources, the project website and our YouTube channel. So point people towards them. And unless there was anything else, that's all we've got for you tonight.
No, thank you and have a happy holiday, everybody.
Yes. Everybody have a
Thank you,
good
everyone. Great work.
Holiday.
Happy
Getting
holidays.
excited.
Happy holidays.
holiday.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you,
holidays.
Put some
Great
Christmas lights on that first piece of steel.
Save
Yeah,
it for the last.
Christmas lights.
All right. Everybody have a great
Bye.
one.
Right.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
Everybody, bye-bye.